Daniella Faith, everybody. Yes, 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 yes. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to Soul Live. Joy comes in the morning.
It does.
It's afternoon
Right.
though. Nah, we're all right. Thank you, first and foremost. Um, Spending time coming to share your amazing talent. Uh Tell me about this record that you just blessed us with.
Oh mama. So I wrote Oh Mama in my first college apartment, like that I properly lived in independently in Boston. Um the first two couple of days of living there I'd managed to go to sleep early, so I felt like I was adulting properly. And then I stayed up till 3 one night and I was like, let me just write a song. And so I wrote the first part of it, which is like the chorus and the verse. And then like maybe 2 months later, it was like the middle of the night, and I got the bridge. Um, it's not about my mom necessarily, but because she always asks me like if it's about her. I'm like, no, mom.
You should lie to her and
I
just tell
should tell
her.
her. I know, right? But it's just about more so like I think in that time in my life, I didn't have the ability to cry out to God as a paternal figure. And my mom always represented like a source of like assurance for me. And so crying out to mama, like I felt like that cry was heard. Um, yeah.
That's very deep. Give it up for moms. Huh? So, your live performances have been described as empowering. I came across that and I just got to see it firsthand for the first time. You know, there's something about a guitar in an intimate setting just really sets the scene, right? So, what I want to know from you though is what makes a great performance in your opinion?
Mm. I think what makes a great performance is acknowledging who you're performing to, um, and I guess just like coming as you are. I don't know. The greatest performers that I've seen are like really free on stage, um, and I think it kind of encourages me to become more free. Like people that really seem like they're just like giving you all that they are. Um, I don't know. I guess
No, that's good.
that's a good performance.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I don't know if you know this, but
Mm.
today you're making history on Soul Live as the first woman
Oh,
on this platform. All
okay.
right,
Women's History
clap
Month.
it up.
Okay, that's awesome.
Right, and it is ironic because it is Women's History Month.
Right,
I don't know if Chris masterminded this, but if the stars are aligning, I'm gonna go with it. Right.
right, fair.
So, in light of Women's History Month, please share with us a few women that have inspired you and why.
Mm, okay, okay. Women have inspired me. Okay, so first, I'm gonna say my mom. Um, just because as I've become older, I've learned to be her friend and not just her daughter. Like I see her as a full, multidimensional human and not just like the woman that birthed me. And because of that, and because I can see her humanity, I really respect her for the woman that she is,
Mhm.
and the person that she is. I think she's a beautiful person. She's super like spiritually grounded, and I'm grateful for it. How that groundedness has kept me when I've been like super like aimless in my life, even when it was justified because I'm young.
Right.
Um, yeah, so my mom, my abuela. Sorry, we're keeping it in the family right now.
It's beautiful.
My abuela Luis, she's awesome. She's a very kind woman. She's very quiet, but she like is very like she has a lot to say. But she doesn't like share everything she has to say, and I respect that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we don't need to say everything that we think. But yeah,
Absolutely.
she has a lot of stories. There's a lot to her life, and I've realized that as I'm older now. So I think it just like adds so much to like this grandma figure I had my whole life that like actually all this stuff was happening in the background I just didn't know. Um, I don't know. I just really respect her for it. Like she's cool. She sits in the kitchen every day. She has her coffee. Like I sit with her. I practice my Spanish so I can better communicate with her. Yeah, I think she's like an awesome person.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
It is an interesting dynamic as you get older and how
Mm,
the relationship changes with your parents.
mm.
And I think it's very important for parents to reveal more so you can humanize them. I think that builds a better relationship into adulthood. So
Yeah.
you kind of hit it on the head with that.
Yeah.
Um, so you mentioned your mother, you mentioned your abuela. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yes.
Um, so I must say, in preparing to talk to you, I was deep in your Instagram
Okay.
to the bottom.
Okay. Okay. Like eighth grade.
Yeah, yeah,
Woo.
yeah. But I first got to say that like you have a beautiful family.
Thank
So it's
you.
no coincidence that you bring them up as the people that inspire you.
Yeah. I love them.
Um, but a very talented one as well.
Yeah.
It seemed like everybody has some sort of musical gene.
Pretty musical. Yeah. My mom sings,
Hmm.
plays guitar. My dad used to play the drums. They're pastors, so they started the church by like her on guitar,
Hmm.
her singing, and him playing the drums. He does not do that anymore, right? He'll like
Okay.
bang on the car seat when we drive sometimes, but he's not really a drummer. Yeah, my brothers. I don't know. I'm really grateful to come from a musical family because I feel like in pursuing artistry, it was never like a that's not a real job. It was
Mm.
more like okay, yeah, like I see it for you. I respect you for it. I don't know.
That's an amazing support system.
Yeah, it's good. It's a privilege. I know a lot of people don't have that.
Right,
So I'm like,
right,
I'm not gonna be like everyone has my story because it's really just one of those things where it's like, thank you God that these were my parents.
right.
That's one thing I didn't have to fight for.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So share with us your earliest music memory.
Mm. Okay. My earliest music memory. There's two, I think. There's one I remember, and then there's one my parents always say. But I'll say the one that they say because it's interesting. Basically, my mom. Can I say that she couldn't breastfeed me anymore? Is that allowed to
Absolutely.
say? Right. That's a human thing. It's
Right,
fine.
right.
So she couldn't breastfeed me anymore. I think I was like 3, so it was like, girl, you need to stop. And my dad was like, finally one day he was like, this is enough. Like you can't do this anymore. And I was really upset, and I went into the bathroom and I started singing and like writing a song, being like, nobody loves me in this house. Nobody loves me. And they were like, what are you saying? I was like, I'm not saying anything. That was that. They were like, so I always express myself through song. Um, and my earliest memory is like so. It's funny because I remember like the feeling of it. I was like 4. I think it was like the preschool moving on ceremony, and all the kids were singing. Um, and we were singing this. I think it was a Star Spangled Banner. Was that the song that we sang? That you sang at those things? Like, oh, is it? Can you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were singing it, and I was singing it to myself, but I remember like feeling the power. I was like, oh, say can you? Right. And like I remember being that young, but like feeling like, oh my god, I sound like a woman. Like this feels amazing. Nobody heard me. But that's probably my earliest like memory of being like, whoa, like, okay, singing is a thing that can happen.
Oh,
Yeah, through me.
that's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. You know, you and I kind of have similar backstories because
Yeah.
we both grew up in church.
Yes.
My father being a musician as well, and it's funny that you talk about that was the first time you felt it because looking back on it for myself, I feel like the emotional relationship to music came through the church.
Yeah.
That's the
Absolutely.
first time, like for a lot of people, not just myself, but for a lot of people that grew up in church, that's the first time you kind of understand that how powerful music can be.
Yeah. For me, it was like which is interesting going to music school where everybody wants to conceptualize this thing that we have no ownership over, right? If we're
Mm-hmm.
constantly discovering something about a thing, how can we claim to completely know it? You know, that's why we learn things. That's why music surprises us. But I remember growing up in the church and music, and my mom was a worship leader, and I used to lead worship for a little, but like always being imparted this message that like music is a means to communicate with God. Like it's a means to communicate with like the spiritual. So then going to a school where like they're having classes to teach people how to improvise, rather than like nurturing the inner artistry that's already within a person or like what comes out of them, trying to like teach it to them based off somebody else's experience. I don't know, that was really like weird to me. um
It's weird when like creative things turn into like a
oh,
curriculum
yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit.
and I know there's like a space for it. But yeah, music has always been that. That's why like I'm very like I don't it's so powerful. Like music is so powerful, and that's why whenever people are like and not just like in making people feel sad but also feeling joy, right? Because sometimes it's like, oh, all music has to be this serious, like super like profound, like showing every inner like deep sad emotion. And it's like, no, like even just a simple declaration like you're gonna be okay in a song, like people are declaring that over themselves. That's powerful, right? It's not powerful because we are, it's powerful because it is. And if we allow it to be powerful through us, I think it's that's when it's powerful. Like I don't know.
How are you 22 years old?
I don't know. I'm the youngest of four.
Oh well,
Yeah, right, right.
you had the
That's
examples,
probably what it was.
but
Yeah.
no, but it's a really good thing. Like you have a very positive outlook on everything. It seems.
Yeah. Yeah. Positive because it's just it always points back.
Hmm.
Always points back.
So I think you do like a really good job in like weaving some of those values you pick up in church
Mm.
into your music, but not alienating people that might not subscribe to
Right.
Christianity. That's a good balancing act, and I think you do a great job at it.
Thank you.
Is there any thought that goes into making sure both type of audiences are satisfied, or is it kind of something that you just hold true to yourself and
Yeah.
you see where it lands with people?
Yeah, I don't even think it's like I'm intentionally doing it. It's just like the reality of my life. Um, I remember like when I went to school for the first time, I left church. I was like I had to like leave all this perception, all this expectation. But there was a tension in my struggle with God. So like I deconstructed my faith because it was like I know you're real, but all this stuff it doesn't make sense to me. And I'm grateful for grace and I'm grateful for space for that to happen because like God isn't as fragile as our ideas and our structures and our ways of thinking. So when we deconstruct things, like God is still God. It's not like we deconstruct things and then people are like, "Oh my God, like what's happening?"
Like
Like
you
no,
outwitted God or
right,
something
right.
like
He's
that.
like, "Yeah, I knew you were gonna ask this question. Good, do it," and then you have a firmer foundation of what you even believe. It's not just what somebody told you. But what was the question? Oh, it's not intentional. Yes, it's not intentional. I think it's just like in my life, it's how I reckon with like suffering. It's how I've reckoned with my experiences. It's how I've reckoned with like everything ever. And so I can't like pretend. Like I can't give people a religious message because I hate that.
Mm.
I hate like the idea of just like giving people this thing but not giving them like the true hope and like faith and love. I hate like just imparting ourselves to people rather than like this is the way that God moved in my life. There's a way He can move in your life. It's not gonna look like mine, and that's okay. But He can move in your life too.
Right. And
Um,
I think that's what makes it relatable, right?
mm,
Because it's not, I know a lot of times the scripture didn't really help me, but kind of the scaffolding behind it, kind
mm,
of the message of just love, the message of like breaking down these, I don't know how I would say it. Uh, I needed to be more relatable,
mm,
right? And I think, again, you do that. Speaks through. You move people. Uh, Moving on to the next one, there's like a natural progression or path that most artists follow.
mm,
You get introduced to music, you discover you have talent, you imitate what you hear, but then there's like a sign for an exit for you to tell your own story. So every songwriter has a moment where they realize, like, all right, it's time for me to start telling my own story.
mm.
Now, you did tell us that your first songwriting was in the bathroom,
Right.
but was there any other moment that you said, all right, this is just not enough for me to uh, cover music?
Mm,
I have to express myself.
yeah. I think I always express myself through music, not to put out. But every time I'd come home from school, I just go into my room with my guitar and just kind of like sing, like let things come out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like before like therapy was an option. That was like before I could really talk to anyone in my life. Like that was a time when I didn't think God was even listening to me. But if I sang, I felt somebody was listening. Um, I think. Oh my God! Can you say the question one more time? Like,
What prompted you to start writing your own
yes.
music?
So I always wrote, but I usually wrote things that were more like worship songs, like in the obvious sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then as I got older, like later in high school, I started to just write for myself. But even though those were songs that I was writing, I didn't think to put them out. And then when I went to college, I still wasn't even really writing like that. I would like sing covers here and then, but I always wrote poems.
Mm-hmm.
I always wrote like things in my notes app. Like words would come to me throughout the day, and I would just like write it down. I guess what school would call song seeds. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think it just like became one of those things where like let me think.
Take your time.
Yeah. This is very cool, guys. I was just like, ooh. Um, I think I didn't take myself seriously as a songwriter until I started to take myself seriously as a person. Um,
Ooh.
and so I didn't think about the experiences that I was having and the life that I was living as something that like could be used to show people something. It was just like, no, Daniela, like just use what it is that you know what you're supposed to use, like that Christian vernacular, like the way that people in church, in some religious spaces can like really like just take language and like just make a song. But in that, I was like, no, like I know God is real, but I see God in my life. I see God moving in these mundane experiences. I see God moving in like this pain in my room. I see God moving in the no solution, like in the way that I have space and grace to have no solution, you know?
Mm.
Um, and I think that's when I like realized, oh yeah, music, like I'll write songs. But I wasn't even gonna go to music school or pursue music until I was a senior in high school and I did not know what to do with myself. Because I was probably gonna go to Rutgers or like study political science or something. Do anything, literally do anything. And then I was like, no, like let's do it. I didn't have much of a plan, but I felt God being like, let's do it. Like I got into Berkeley, I went to Berkeley. But even it's funny, I didn't graduate. So it wasn't like God was like, Daniela, you're gonna go to Berkeley and graduate. It was like just go for when you're supposed to go.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Um, so every so often, me personally, I'll
Yeah.
hear a concept or a song that's so like beautifully written, so executed that part of me goes, "Damn, I wish I made that." Right? So if you could be a fly on the wall in a studio session,
mm,
what would the song be, and who would the artist? Who is the artist of the song?
mm, okay. The song and the artist. I think um, I'm gonna think about this. I'm trying to think about who I like really listen to. If I would like would want to be in the room seeing them make it.
There's something about like just being presented with it, like the surprise of hearing the song. Do you think like being in the room would kind of take away from like the love of the song because you're seeing it constructed?
No, I think it would still be beautiful because it's like you get context for like where things come from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think about like who I really want to. I guess one person that I would love to be in the room with them, or like what I've been able to see is John Mayer has this one like flow, to his like it's like a live performance to In Your Atmosphere, and it would be interesting to see like because In Your Atmosphere is just like the song,
Mm-hmm.
and then when he plays it live, I think at Madison Square Garden, he has this like whole other part, that it's just beautiful. I think it's so beautiful. I used to always listen to it, growing up, and it would be interesting to see like how that happened, like him just playing the song, and then it ends, but like he kept going, and then like it just came out. I don't know. That would be interesting.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So I came across a video of you explaining lyrics on your song Seven,
Yes.
and you mentioned that sometimes you'll write a song and the meaning comes after.
Mm.
Is that normally how you approach songwriting?
It's there's specific songs. So like Oh Mama, that kind of happened. It was just like I was sitting on my bed. It was like, yeah, this is what's happening. It's already 3. And then But Don't Tell Me just like came.
Mm-hmm.
I never should have had that coffee because I had had coffee. Um, but other songs like for 7, it's like it's just I was sitting in my room playing, kind of just like humming, emoting different words, kind of, or like enunciating like, and then those words came. 7, like seven's mad random, but that's the word that just came out. And then after I finished the song, I looked back at the words. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I think this is good. And I called my sister in because I was like, I think Gabby needs to hear this. I think this is for Gabby. And she came into the room and I sang it for her and she started crying. And I was like, oh, okay, this is why I need to write the song for Gabby. Um, and then like 3 months later, I ended up just like recording it in my room just to get it done. But it's like I think that's what's so beautiful about my relationship with music is like I don't feel like it's me all the time. Like I can't be like, oh yeah, that's on me. Like I did this. I am the best writer in the world, like, because I have no explanation for some of the words, like, even some of like the meaning behind the words. Like, I have a song, "Oh Billy," and that song is about the will to go on, but it's like, "Oh Billy," Billy being a nickname for William. So Will, it's like will personified, me
Mm,
singing to the will within that's personified. But it's like sounds so cool, right? And I'm also like, wow, that's how I felt when it came to me. Like literally when I was writing it, I was like,
mm.
oh, oh my god, yeah,
It's cool seeing those like dots connect.
it's like so cool. And then it's okay, that's what had to happen. Um, but I do love to write sometimes. Like I'll just be in my room, or if I'm out during the day, I'll just like write on my notes
In your
app,
notes app,
or
yeah.
like I'll hear a word that somebody says in conversation, and then I'll just write it down, or I'll like look it up immediately, and then I'll look up words that have to do with this word to like create more of a full concept,
Hmm.
and then like see what happens.
I would love to scroll through your notes app. You probably have like thousands of them.
There's so many.
All right. Hold on one second. All right. So being an artist
Mm,
requires you to do things that you don't look forward to sometimes.
right.
Uh, what is your least favorite part about it?
I don't want to say least favorite, but maybe like the least where I'm like a little more awkward is like honestly stuff like this maybe.
I hope we're doing
No,
a
I
good
love
job.
it. It's
Okay.
so cool. It's just an area where I need to grow because I think performing is my jam. Not that I necessarily think of it as performing, but like I love performing with like just my guitar. I do two so fars a month, and it just is like very like, yeah, like this is what I want to do to a group of people that I have no idea who they are. They don't know who I am, but I have the opportunity to like have their ears for this like 25-minute set. Um, because the way music was introduced to me in church, it was a congregational thing. So it
Hmm.
was like we are all doing this together. And so I guess not that it was intentional, but when I started playing more like sets, not that I don't get nervous, I do, but it's not necessarily like a weight of like, what are they gonna think of me? And what are they gonna think? It's just like, okay, we're here together. This show is happening because you are sitting in front of me, and it's happening because I'm here with you. And depending on how you receive this, we're gonna figure out what happens.
I think that's like the most beautiful way of getting over stage fright
No,
that
yeah,
I've
it's
ever heard.
you just start talking to them. And you're like,
Uh,
hey guys, we're here. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're just here.
all right.
Yeah.
So no matter where you are on like your music journey, there's always something you can celebrate about yourself, right?
Yeah.
So what accomplishments are you most proud of?
Mm. Um, I think sending all my emails without anybody's help. I'm not kidding. Like
Yeah.
doing all the things, like texting everybody back, setting up my schedule, um, getting the songs out, reaching out to the people to help me get the songs out. Like it seems like simple, but those were basic tasks that maybe 2, 3 years ago, my mind constantly told me I was incapable of doing anything. And so like being at a place now where like those voices aren't constantly in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so proud of that. Hell yeah, I
Hmm.
feel awesome. I feel so good. I feel good right now. I think like end goal of like career, I don't have much stress on like where am I gonna make it because I feel like I have a pretty like okay between me and God it's kind of just like when things happen.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like nice to be in a place where I can enjoy the process because before I couldn't enjoy the process because I felt guilt for not being at the place that I thought people wanted me to be at, or like just not doing the things I thought people expect me to do. And now I'm like, no, like, I'm not worried about the future. I'm good. Whatever needs to happen, as long as my faith is in God, I'm gonna be fine. Even if that means I'm gonna be a teacher and move to Spain, it's fine because I don't want to do something that's gonna destroy me in the process. I don't acquire a sense of success and be lost just because I wanted to acquire it. That's not the life I want to live.
I think the message you're sending is like just how important it is to be in the present
Yeah,
and enjoying the present. And
yeah,
I think that's like eventually those are the people that make it
mm,
because they don't have anxiety about the future. They're not
mm,
stuck in the past. They're just taking it a day at a time.
the present.
Yeah.
It's good, but I wasn't there before.
Hmm.
That's why I'm so like every day I wake up recently and I'm like, oh my god, I'm alive right now, and not in like a cheesy way. I'm like, no, seriously, like okay, like I can go outside, breathe in the air, and I'm letting myself breathe it in and acknowledge that I'm breathing it in, and that there's nothing else happening in this moment but me breathing in this air. It's like the feeling I used to have when I got out of school when I was like 13, and like I don't know, nothing mattered. There was no like future, but I felt so free, and I
Mm.
felt free in the unknown. and free in the fact that like I didn't control everything, and there wasn't like this huge thing that I had to do to get done to prove to somebody or to affirm what I know to be true.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. You know, when I asked you the question of what you don't like the most about being an artist, I would assume it would be like the emails and doing all the logistic stuff. Because
Right.
in my opinion, I think like the artist kind of just wants to create
Or
the whole time. So if I was an artist, I would hate doing that back office type
it's
of
just so
stuff.
awkward because I'm like, am I saying the right thing?
Yeah,
It's
all
like,
right,
can
all
I
right.
just like? That's why I'm a caller. I'm just like, you can hear my tone of voice. We can like say the thing right away, and that's it.
Well, the calls are a lost art.
Yeah,
Everybody's
right,
texting nowadays,
right.
right?
Um, no, yeah, I can't. I can. I'm doing it. But yeah, everything else, this the recording process is also it can be a little like stressful, especially when you're depending on other people to like bring the song to like its full sound.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm at a place now where I'm learning to allow people to like hold my babies, like my music, and trust them with it. Because collaboration is mad important,
Takes a
which
team.
is true. It takes a team.
Takes a team.
But that's where I'm at now because I wasn't there before, and I'm grateful that I'm there now.
I think you are ahead of the game.
Mm.
I think I'm very excited to see where this goes in the future. Um, what are you looking forward to most in the future?
Mm. I'm looking forward to honestly touring. I'm really excited to tour, like play bigger shows with a full band, and like really like bring the energy of like those intimate shows where it's like we're all here right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're not my fan. I'm singing because this is my gift, and this is what I have to offer the world. But I'm not like that parasocial relationship where people are like, I'm here, people admire you so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm excited to like bring that energy that's more like a communal thing, to like the big stage.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel it now. Like
Yeah,
every time
yeah.
I play any show, I'm like, yeah, like this is where I'm supposed to be now, and these are the people I'm supposed to be performing to now. Because if it wasn't supposed to be these people, then it wouldn't be these people, you know.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I'm really excited about, and just like I don't know, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for anything, everything. I'm just trying to be open, to the good.
That's amazing. All right.
Yeah.
Um, where can our audience find you? Drop the socials.
Okay, find me on Instagram, Daniella Faith underscore. That's like my main social media. Twitter is not real. Like it's real, but I'm not on there
It's not even Twitter
because
anymore. It's
Elon
X
messed
or
us
something.
up. God. I have TikTok, but I don't really post music stuff on there. I know people say to do that, but I just can't. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to post something and then people feel entitled to your art, and they're like, so you have to like, it's like instant gratification. It's like, where's the next thing? Where's the next thing? I get it, but it's just like I'm not co-signing that culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. And if I have to post one day, I will. But I'm not there yet.
No one's forcing you.
But I do post fun videos of my cousins and like just me listening to a song like woo. That's my TikTok primarily, and they can find me Spotify, Apple Music, and Instagram. All my shows I post on my Instagram, and there's gonna be more coming up, which is cool. So everyone has to come. We'll get free together. It's gonna be good.
Okay.
And yeah, on Spotify it shows all my like so fars that I do every month. So if people want to come to something more intimate, please do.
Definitely go check her out. Daniella Faith, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I hope you come back.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. This is awesome.
Can we give it up?
Thank you.
All right. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
That's a wrap.
Ooh.
And we are out.
Okay.
Wasn't too bad, right?
No, I was like this the whole time, like.